in having these conversations to try to enlighten one another and teach, there's going to be moments where you're going to have to figure out how to move past the disagreement.
Absolutely.
So I want you to speak on that a little bit, because without that lesson, I think this lesson right here, it blocks and hinders a lot of people from getting to that next level.
Absolutely. So what I would say is like, I'll touch on one part and then I'll go into like a different part, but it's still the same thing. So coming from a married perspective, me and my wife have a lot of disagreements, but we always have
a black and brown couple having disagreements?
Never. So like we have these disagreements where like literally I'll say something and she'll be like, nah, I don't agree with that. I'm like, okay, why? And she'll tell me her reason and why, and I'm like, that still don't even make sense to me. But we have a common goal, is that no matter what, we're still in agreement. Like, we can agree to disagree, but be in agreement of like, you know what? Is this a heaven or hell issue? Is this a life and death situation? No? All right, well, let's just push past it. Like, if it's not that deep, then you can move past that. The unfortunate thing is like, if you don't agree with me, then you're against me. And that's not always true. Just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I'm against you. It just means I disagree with an opinion that you may have. Just because you like the Lakers and, well, I like the Lakers too, so I'm not gonna even say that. Like, I can't even get the C word out of my mouth.
That other LA team.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even do that. But if I like the Dodgers and you like the Angels, like, well, nah, like, you suck. Well, no, I don't. Like, I don't suck as a person. I just like the Angels and you like the Dodgers. Like, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we are in a society now where if you don't agree, then you have to be a horrible person, or there's something wrong with you, when in reality, like, that's what makes this world so amazing, is the fact that we don't all agree on the same thing. There's only one thing that we should all agree upon, and unfortunately we don't. And like, the reality is like, love should conquer all, but unfortunately, like, people don't consider love at all. Like, they want to put in the middle of things, like the way my political stance is. Like, it's unfortunate that like a Democrat can't even sit there and like talk to like a liberal. Like, they're just like, no, like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, like, well, okay, just even, having the issues that's going down with Obamacare.
Right.
The point is that there's sick women and children that need health care, and one side wants to get it to them, the other side's like, nah, we good with that, right? So even that, putting that at the forefront, that common goal, like you said, like with your soccer team, the common goal is to win.
Yeah.
So if we're in this race together, this human race together, right? The common goal is, let's take care of the people that we're supposed to be taking care of, specifically the people that are in our country, like our brothers and sisters of this nation, right? So if we can't do that and learn to agree to disagree, we gotta start somewhere, though. Yeah. So bringing it to the context of your wife and putting it in your household and having those conversations with your kids. But I hate to do this, but I'm gonna go there. Because you brought up something that I think is gonna help a lot of people out. When certain times when certain people felt like they're being disagreed with, they take it as, you don't love me.
Right.
Or on the counter side, if someone disagrees, you don't respect me.
Right.
Not being able to part ways with, no, this is my opinion about this topic or issue, but this is not reflective of the love or respect that I have for you
right.
specifically as a person.
Right.
So if we can be able to compartmentalize and start seeing those as separate things, I think that's going to help clear up a lot of room for people to have healthier dialogues.
Right. And I'll even, like, just to some of my young G's out there, when you get a job, career, whatever the case may be, understand this. You're going to have friction with your supervisor. Yes. You're going to have friction with your lead, your coworkers. It's going to happen. It's not that they're being a hater. It's that they may see something better in you and they want to pull it out of you. Never take constructive criticism as somebody hating on you. It is somebody saying, I see better in you and you need to do better for yourself. So if I don't say anything, you're never going to be great.
Yeah.
And that's something that I come across a lot of times, is that a lot of young G's can't take constructive criticism because they think somebody's hating on them. Oh, I'm about to quit. Whoa. Why are you about to quit? Like, what? Why? Well, because they don't like me. no, it's not that. It's not that they don't like you. Like if they're talking about the same thing over and over and over again, that's a character issue that they think that you should correct.
You should work on.
Yeah, like let's work on being better in our character. And
you got to
integrity.
dig a little deeper.
Yeah,
than that.
like Mike said, look at the man in the mirror. Like sometimes when somebody corrects you, whether they're wrong or right, always consider like, okay, how can I do better to where this conversation never happens again? If you can look at yourself and say, you know what, I'm getting better after that conversation, I guarantee you'll never have that conversation ever again.
And see, even on that principle too, not even assuming, like you said, the other person's right or wrong or whatever, but understanding yourself enough to say, okay, hypothetical, if this person's correct, what do I need to change?
Absolutely.
And if you come up with something that you need to change, then that person is right. Maybe I didn't show up on that task.
Right.
But if they're giving me another opportunity, then I need to adjust and show up on that task and do it and execute it to a level of excellence better the next time. And if you're too in your feelings about that, or you don't know how to take, like you said, that constructive criticism, then that thick skin that doesn't exist is going to get you in a lot of trouble. That spirals out to a whole thing, because you're never going to find contentment in your life. You're never going to be able to be happy, and you're going to be wondering why all your people don't want to start hanging around you.
Right.
Because you're the one who's bringing down the crowd.
Right.
Let's be real.
Absolutely.
And we've all come across those people.
Absolutely.
They're very self-loathing, but they have
Woe
to.
is me.
Yeah, they have to see that the principle is, look, we need to communicate about this, and I cannot take this to my personal feelings. And there's been plenty of times, even in a business lane, right now we have the level of entrepreneurs out there that are out there doing it on a greater scale than we've ever had before, right? And so we see a lot of people literally open up an Instagram page. I do this now. My business has started. It really, in theory, is that simple. It gets complex if you go a little bit further, but in theory, okay, so now you want to be a business owner, but you can't listen to your clients.
Right.
You can't listen to your customers. You can't listen to what they're telling you and the services that they need to be available for those services. Why are you in business?
Right.
You're not in business. You have a hobby.
Yeah. You have a hustle.
Yeah. You have a hobby or a hustle.
Yeah.
One of those things.
One of them.
But I see, unfortunately, especially with the young G's, there's not a lot of business owners that are coming in and having these programs where a lot of these young guys could come in and say, no, look, I do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Let's come in here and you run with me for a little bit, and let me impart this wisdom to you, because it is more than that. It is more than just putting up a new social media page and saying, I do this. You got to come with it. You got to bring certain levels and execute well, and you got to take into consideration what your clients and what they want, because if you can't grow, not to say that you have to be a people pleaser, but if you can't grow to listen, to get out of your own way, to listen to other people, to produce a service or a product that has actually people want, man, you're going to have a hard time with that. And that same principle carries over into the household. If you can't put your own ego aside to listen to what the other person's trying to say, how are you supposed to move that marriage forward, that family forward?
Absolutely.
You got to have those conversations.
Absolutely. Somebody has to be the head.
Yeah, exactly. And someone's got to take, and here's the thing too, I remember when, as far as dealing with that and being in communication, head of your household and stuff like that, there's certain things that you got to take the lead on.
Absolutely.
Right? So growing up, I lived in a household where, saying I love you and hugs, it was common when I was younger, but that phased out. You know what I'm saying? People grow, people change, turbulence in the family, whatever, right? And so I remember I got to a point where it's I need to break some of this tension within my own household. I need to take the lead, and I started going around, Mom, I love you. Dad, I love you. My brother, my sister, I love you. Yeah, I don't care if you guys are talking to each other or not. I'm going to let you know where I stand with me.
Right.
Right, but it was breaking that tension. The reason why I bring that up is because there's not a lack of opportunity for people to take those leads and be those heads in those examples.
Yeah. I could definitely attest to the same thing. My mom and dad never really said, I love you a whole lot. It was, we grind together, we build together, we dream together, we have a common goal. And it was always just a well-functioning, oiled machine. Love was just shown. We didn't really say it a whole lot. While you were saying, I had to think to myself, I was man, I don't, we didn't say it that often either. Like, it was literally like we just knew. Like, it was like, all right, like, I know my mom and dad, they love me because they grind for us. They're there for all of our events. My mom, she would pop up at school on me like, yo, bruh, I know you have a D in this class, and we'll sit in the entire class for a week
Right.
with your boy. Like, yeah, you think I'm playing? I dare you to keep on playing.
Yeah.
I'll slap you in the back of the neck right now. And so, like, that was when I was like, okay, like, I knew, like, they loved me, but I had to kind of take a bigger step too. Like I always tell, like, my kids, like, daddy loves you, daddy's always here, blah, 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 blah. Like, my mom and dad, like, it was always just like, yeah, I love you. All right, cool, bye. Like, it was like all, because we were always on the go. It was soccer, baseball, football. It was always something. And so, like, we didn't get a lot of that quality time in to compare to, like, my wife's family. They celebrate everybody's everything. Like, everybody has to show. No, you have to be here. We had to be there last weekend too. Like, do we have to go all the way out to La Puente? Like,
but you're giving a good example of, like, even what we talked about a little bit earlier, leading with vulnerability.
absolutely.
Like, coming to the forefront of my family and saying, I'm going to lead, I'm going to show you this love needs to be a staple and a foundation. It needs to be well communicated. You guys need to know before you leave this house who loves you and where that love is generated and coming from. Why is that to you so important?
To me, why it's so important, because people don't understand how much words really do change the dynamic of a household. Like, literally, words can build up and they can tear down. Like, you have to understand, like, back in the day, I used to sticks and stones would break my bones, but words that never hurt me. That's one of the most lies that you could ever tell somebody. Because think about it, this generation now, by words alone, they're being destroyed.
Oh, yeah. No.
Like, just words on a Facebook post, words on an Instagram
Will
tweet,
crush their spirit.
like, destroy their whole life. Like, no, why are they talking about me on Twitter? It's like,
It's not that serious. It's not that, yeah.
But you don't realize, like, growing up, if somebody were to tell you how great you were every single day, how much more you would have been driven to do something younger. Somebody just coming alongside of you and just imparting wisdom into you every single day does wonders. Like, spending time with somebody, giving them the words of affirmation that they need. Like, you don't realize, like, especially for young women, it's everything. Like, they need that word every single day. And so, like, I've come to a place now, especially with my daughter, where I tell her how beautiful she is every day. I tell her how amazing, how smart she is, because it sets a standard for when she gets to have a husband. It's like,
I need to be treated like
you can't just talk to me any old kind of way.
No, and you bring up a good point too. In general, like, we're having this conversation of G's and OGs, but that's not just a mentorship conversation for men and boys.
No,
that's for women and girls too.
Absolutely.
And to be a predominant role, especially as a strong female figure in a young girl's life, is everything, because it's the same way that I expect that these younger boys are going to look to us for those examples. So I just want to highlight that, because we have been talking a lot, and that hasn't been specified, but you bring in that context, and I want to make sure that that's known to everyone.
Absolutely. And just to kind of dive in a little bit on that, what I've also noticed to, like, my women G's, like, understand, like, stop tearing each other down so much, man. It's like,
you went there.
Yeah, I got to, man. Like, it's frustrating when I'm watching Love and Hip Hop, and it's and the younger girls, the younger G's, like, they're literally looking at this stuff and they call that entertainment, and then they act it out at school, they act it out in their homes.
Well, the same principle's happening, man. It's the same thing we're talking about with the G's and the boys. Is like, where's the mentorship?
Absolutely.
You feel like you can act like that and be wild because of the influences that are around and upon you. Like, there's certain shows that I won't watch just because of that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? There's certain shows, I get it. Like, we work with youth. We have to watch certain things, listen to certain things to know what they're talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I understand that principle 100. But to fill my life with 4 hours of a Kardashian marathon,
I can't do it.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
I can't stomach it. Like,
Right. So, but then to see the projection of what the standard of beauty and imagery is for young women is heartbreaking to me.
Absolutely.
So you telling your daughter that and making sure that she knows what the proper love from a respected male, her father, is supposed to set the time in, then that's what she's going to need to use that as her base to define that. I remember you reminded me when you said that I never paid attention to this, and I always hated it growing up. But fortunately, when I was younger, when my dad would have to leave to work sometimes a little bit later, so he would wake us up, and he was in the Army, so he would always say, "Rise and shine, soldier. It's time to go out there and be somebody." Like every morning, 5 days a week, he would say that, right? And that is not a way you want to wake up every morning, right? But looking back, I'm like, dude, he was speaking words of affirmation for me to go out and do something with my life today. Go out and accomplish something. Go out and execute something. I never took it serious. I never realized, but now I look at how I wake up every day, and we've talked about this. Like if you're really on your grind and you love what you're doing, you can put your alarm clock out of business. I've heard you tell me that several times.
Yeah, like you can just get up like, wow, I'm actually up 15 minutes before my actual alarm. Like, all right,
cool.
Might as well get it up.
About to
make it make sense.
Yeah, about to get that coffee started a little earlier.
You got to get it. And it makes your life a lot easier when you're not dependent on that. Like when you have to look over and turn your alarm off, what do? 9 times out of 10, you hit the snooze at least 3 times. You hit it at least 3 times.
There's plenty of times I've set 4 alarms on my alarm clock.
Yeah.
What? No, but then when you get to that point where it's like, no, today I got some worth getting up for.
I gotta make it. I gotta make it happen. And if I don't make it happen, and see, like we're in a little bit different situation, but at the same time, we're in the same situation because I know you always look at it from a perspective of like, if I don't do this, my nieces and nephews may suffer.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
For me, I look at it as like, if I don't go out here and get it, my wife doesn't eat, my kids don't eat, and now they're gonna look at me and be like, how come we can't eat? How come our lights are off? How come we can't go to these things? Like I have to always think about that alarm. Like when I say like sleep is more important, what I'm essentially saying is that sleep is more important than your life. And I can't even look at myself in the mirror and say that. Like my sleep is more important than my daughter being able to go to school.
To eat today?
Like to be like I can't even get her a sandwich. Like that's not acceptable. And so like for me, I'm like, yo, you need to get up and you need to make it happen and get out of your feelings, and it's okay. You'll wake up. You're not going to die.
You can still feel tired and get up.
Yeah, you can say exactly. You're going to rub your eyes. You're going to yawn.
Yeah.
You may even be like, man, I hate this right now. But once you're done, I've never heard anybody say once they've conquered something like, man, I regret conquering that.
No, and that's the thing. You may not like the process, but you're going to love the results.
Absolutely.
If you have the difference in the character to go through that. And that's part of it too. Like that's getting into the whole character development side of it. Showing up, being consistent, and keeping your word. Word is bond. Word is everything. So showing up and being consistent, at the end of the day, if you don't show up, you don't eat.
Right.
If you don't show up, you ain't getting paid. You ain't getting the chance to be exposed, network, and experience the things that you need to if you're not there.
Right.
And you said earlier, and I love that you were talking about you're not striving for perfection, but you're striving to be perfect every day in your effort, right? That's consistency to me.
Yeah.
That's consistency. I may hit it 4 out of 5 days this week, but those 4 times I hit it, you guarantee it's going to wreck someone.
Absolutely.
I can have my days of that 5th day, man, I didn't miss it, but when I'm coming back on the next week, I'm coming stronger with the wisdom that I learned from that, taking that L.
Yeah.
And coming back even better than before. But the consistency that I'm seeing is lacking because there's no accountability. The OGs are not holding these young Gs to be consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're not being consistent because they're in their feelings or whatever, and they don't want to show up. Man, it's not that important. I don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like one of the things is like, I've heard a lot of people that's like, man, my heart is for this younger generation. I love this younger generation. And they go to disciple some students, and they may disciple them for a month, 2 months, and then they kind of fall off. And then, like, I don't see them with that student anymore. And I'm like, what? And I ask them, what happened? Oh, they just got busy. Life happened. And it's like, I get life happened, but you said you wanted this. You said you wanted this life. So if you said you wanted this life, why did you fall off? You can't expect. And then you want to be mad when the young G falls off.
Right.
How you gonna be mad at the young G for falling off when you fell off with your mentorship?
So, yeah, the OG didn't stay consistent at doing the check-ins, being available at the times and dates that they said that they were going to be available, and that's one of the most detrimental things that you can do to someone coming up, especially if they're looking up at you and have that respect for you.
Absolutely.
Because that gets lost and that gets washed, and you can't help to sometimes you can't erase that tarnish.
Yeah, and it sucks because I'm actually reading a book right now. And it's John Gray, I'm number 8. Phenomenal book. If anybody wants to check it out, you should. It's amazing. He talks about how when he was a kid growing up, he grew up in church and all this other stuff, and he said it was a famous like church band or something that he was following, and he said they had just done it, like everything was amazing. He was like, man, I wanted to tell him, like, man, you changed my life. I'm on fire for God. I want to do these crazy things. And he said he gets on the bus, and the band that just got done leading worship, they're watching porn on the bus.
Ugh.
He said it wrecked his life. Like, he said he was a teenager, and he said he just looked, and he said he just walked off of the bus. And he said it just wrecked him. Like, how can somebody that just led the presence of God into this building, like, just go off? And he said, I don't understand how somebody that can get us to be connected to God can be so disconnected. And he said he didn't realize that you can have the gift, but not understand where you get the gift from. And I was like, wow. That's heavy. But then I thought about it in a mentorship way, like where it's literally you can look up to somebody, and you don't understand what you're doing. Like, just because you're doing it in private doesn't mean that it won't eventually get done in public.
Right.
You will be exposed, and the person that you're hurting the most, yeah, it's you, but it's the people that look up to you.
Yeah.
Because you're not authentic, and you're not who you really say you are.
And that's one thing that I think more than any other generation that I've worked with or dealt with is that level of authenticity. Is everything. I remember one of my first speaking engagements was to go teach a devotional to a youth group, and I came with seven principles to living an authentic discipleship, and which was a good message within of itself, but it's very disheartening to know that if I walk away from this, I can't even trust that they're going to have people that are going to take them on.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm leaving them with potential assignments, research. I'm leaving them with resources, but unless someone actually comes up and helps them out with that, where are they going to be at? And so that's to me why I'm so frustrated in this conversation, in this context, is because we're in the middle of graduating slowly. We're going to be those OGs before we know it, right? So the sooner we can start this conversation and share this with people, the sooner that they'll be able to do something about it within their own community. And that's where the focus needs to be at. We're not asking for everyone to come out and change the world and be on the biggest scale and be the most famous popular person on Twitter and Instagram. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about who are the 5-6 people around you right now that if you were just to pay attention a little bit more to, could probably impact their lives that much more. That's where we need to get to. And I think that's the challenge that we got to leave people with is get involved in teaching. If you got a trade or a skill set, make sure you're imparting that knowledge and wisdom to someone else. If you got wisdom and game that you're trying to put other people on, don't be stingy with it, and don't be afraid that if you're an OG, don't be afraid that you're gonna be dethroned.
Yeah.
The time will come for a graduation, and for the young G's, I need you to go out there and start seeking it, start getting it.
I agree. Also, too, it was something that I was gonna say earlier, but as an OG, you need to also be okay with knowing that the younger G may be more gifted than you.
Ooh, say that again.
Like, the younger G can be more gifted than you. Don't be so insecure to where you can't see the gift and just say like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna pour into that because you're way greater than what I have ever seen, and I want you to take the rings of this. So when I get out the way, people will be like, it's not even about me.
Kyrie Irving, his pops. Point in case. If you don't know, look that story up.
You better look at it ASAP.
Long story short, he put himself aside to pour into his kids, and we're seeing the benefits of that now.
Yeah.
Championship, NBA championship, all time.
Absolutely. And it's sad when you see somebody that is so gifted and so talented, and they have a mentor, but the mentor may be very insecure. So the mentor may, well, you're doing too much, or you need to slow down. And it's, whoa, like, what do you mean I need to slow down? You're the one who told me I need to, get on my grind and do X, Y, and Z. But now that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, you're telling me like because you don't want me to be greater than you. Like, you get the Saul and David moment, and you get to bashing that younger person. Oh, they don't listen. They don't. It's not that this younger generation doesn't listen. It's not that this younger generation is disrespectful. It's this younger generation is so gifted and talented that we can't see it to say, you know what, let me put my ego aside and let me take them underneath my wing and show them how to really use that gift and talent that they have.
Yeah, because if Moses didn't get sat down, Joshua would have never had that opportunity.
Absolutely.
And he's the one who got him to that threshold and took him to the next battle. So, man, Jeff, I appreciate you making time to do this. One more time, where can they find you at? How can they get at you?
So you can get at me on any social media. It's Jeff Smith Speaks. We're working on my website. We just tore it down. We're doing some revamping. We're going to have some new apparel up. We're working on some things. So it's Jeff Smith Speaks. And then my website, when it gets up, it will be jeffsmithspeaks.org.
Okay, cool. And you guys can find me at IamMatthewGarcia.com. Instagram, IamMG Originator. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon, and God bless.